The U.S. State Department has announced a new refugee program for thousands of Afghans allies who may be targets of Taliban violence for their ties to America. Secretary of State Antony Blinken announced plans to set up the Priority 2 refugee program, covering Afghans who worked for U.S.-funded projects and for U.S.-based non-government bodies and media outlets. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken on Monday announced a new refugee program for thousands of Afghan allies who may be the targets of Taliban violence for their ties to America. Blinken, speaking during a briefing, said the new refugee program poses significant diplomatic, logistical and bureaucratic challenges. Blinken announced plans to set up the Priority 2 refugee program covering Afghans who worked for U.S.-funded projects and for U.S.-based non-government bodies and media outlets. Though he acknowledged the new program didn't cover everyone who helped. The Priority 2 program applies to Afghans who do not qualify for the Special Immigration Visa (SIV) program that covers interpreters and others who worked for the U.S. government and their families.
Afghans who worked with the United States or the International Security Assistance Force at some point since 2001 are facing acute fears of persecution or retribution that will likely grow as coalition forces leave the country. We have a special responsibility to these individuals. They stood with us. We will stand with them.
The announcement of the program comes as fighting surges in Afghanistan ahead of the formal completion of the U.S. troop withdrawal at the end of this month, with the Taliban pushing to capture key provincial capitals. Blinken also said reports that Taliban insurgents have committed atrocities are deeply disturbing and totally unacceptable. Last week, about 200 applicants for those visas and their family members flew into the U.S. at the start of an evacuation effort dubbed Operation Allies Refuge that could include as many as 50,000 people or more.